Week 1 of the fantasy season is now in the books. And we head into Week 2. I just wanted to get a little update on where I thought the power rankings were, where everybody's team stands heading into Week 2, and preview the matchups. Week 1 was weird. A team that pretty much tied for the third most points in the league, they lost. And a team that had a terrible week and the third least points in the league, they won because someone forgot to start a kicker. Oh well. So let's see how everybody's doing heading into Week 2. Let's go to the power rankings. So we'll go from 12 to 1. In 12th place, it's not the team that barely got over 100 points. I'm putting Balky's team here. He had the second least points with 115. And it's not just because he forgot to start a kicker. It's because his bench was terrible. They put up a total of like 7 points, I think, as a total bench. His team's not very deep. Who knows what's going on with Antonio Brown? I think his team is going to be tough to come back from Week 1. In 11th, I do have Paul Barnett's team. Had a tough Week 1. Only got to 100.76 points. But I don't think it'll stick because Devontae Adams is one of the premier wide receivers in the league. And he had a great free agent bidding system, picking up the man from Washington to go over the top and hopefully score some points for him. In 10th place, I actually have our reigning champion, which I didn't think I would say. He won. He was the third least points in the league because Balky forgot to start a kicker. His starting lineup really was big on taking the charge out of Eckler and Allen. See what I did there? The two chargers of the team, two people that carried his team to victory. The other parts of his team really didn't show up. I wonder if the people on his IR, AJ Green, will be a big part of his success, or will it hurt him because when Melvin Gordon comes back, who will take charge? Melvin Gordon or Austin Eckler? Only time will tell. Things can obviously change a lot as the week goes on. There we go. In 9th, I have Shane. Shane, it's your first game in our league, and you lost, but you had a great score, 118.88. That's my birthday, so I really like your score a lot. You had some decent players, but I just don't think your team is deep enough right now. We'll see how it goes, but you do have some good starting running backs in Henry and Barkley, so maybe those two can carry your team for the rest of the year and head further up our power rankings. In 8th, I have the team that beat you in Christina. She did put up a good amount of points with 128, but it was mostly because of 3 players, and there's not much depth beyond that, so we'll see if she can shore that up. She had DeAndre Hopkins and Jacobs go off on Monday night. When we went to sleep, I didn't think she had a chance, but those 2 players carried her along with Tom Brady. Her bench really only has Drew Brees, which, since she has Tom Brady, really isn't needed very much. In 7th place, another person that I was surprised didn't have that good a week with 124 points is Saul, but he does have a decent bench. So that's why he's on the cusp of the top half of the league. With 124 points, I think Saul could come up, especially if Kamara gets back on track. Kamara, even though the Saints had a good game, didn't have one of his crazy large games this past week. In 6th, I do have Rob's team, who only put up 120 points. You're asking me why 128 points, or only 120 points? Is he 6th? His bench. His bench is incredibly deep and incredibly well supplied. He was the worst manager for a reason. His bench almost outscored his starting lineup. So I think he was just a thing of not putting the right people in and getting unlucky in fantasy, which happens sometime. I think Rob's depth will come to help him along the way. In 5th, I have Jason's team, who had a good bench week of 96 points, kind of the same thing as Rob, but Rob, unfortunately, did not have Christian McCaffrey like Jason did, who put up 128 points. Christian McCaffrey put up over 40 of that. So a big part of Christian McCaffrey leads Jason to the 5 spot, and because his bench was very good as well. Now into the top 4, the people that maybe will win their division. I got Dozer with 132 points, somehow still got 132 points, third in the league, even without Aaron Jones having a good day. I only imagine Aaron Jones will increase and improve throughout the season. He also had Emmanuel Sanders and Deshaun Jackson on his bench. Now, Deshaun might be a boomer bust for the rest of the year, so it might be a risky play, but he did have 2 stars on his bench and still scored 132 points. That's why Dozer falls in 4th. In 3rd place, I have the team that scored the most points in our league. 139 points for my brother, but the reason I have him in 3rd and not his 1st is because Joe Mixon just got hurt. Could be out for a few weeks, 6-7 weeks, so that could hurt his ability to stay atop of the power rankings, and he only got 30 points from his bench. So the question is, can he strengthen his bench as well as hold on when one of his 2 starting running backs got hurt. The one thing I do have to say about Jeff, good pickup. Real quick to jump back to him and Giovanni Bernard. I think he'll be a great fit, obviously, for the next couple weeks. But again, when Joe Mixon comes back, same thing with Eckler. Will that help Jeff get back toward where he belongs, the top of the power rankings? In second place, Tim Falcone. Had a heck of a week, 132.42 points. Tied for third most with Dozer at 132 points in the league. And had 70 points on his bench, so a pretty good week. It just wasn't enough for a win. Poor Tim scored a ton of points, but could not find a way to get a victory. Because, and I don't want to do this because I feel like I'm jinxing myself, I am putting myself atop the power rankings this week. And like I said, I don't want to do it. I feel like I'm going to jinx myself, but I had the second most points in the league, 138.22. I had 90.5 points on my bench, and every single person on my team put up double digits except for one, and we dropped him. And I'm happy with the person I got in John Ross off the waiver wire until AJ Green comes back. I think that'll just improve my team. So like I said, I'm going to put myself at number one. I think rightfully. I don't think it's a partial thing. I want myself to stay there, but I feel like I'm jinxing myself and something's going to go terrible. But Zeke, as well as Gurley, did not have that great a day. Either Nick Chubb, and I still put up the second most points. So I think my team is pretty well stable, and hopefully I'm not jinxing myself and everybody gets hurt next week. We shall see. We had a crazy waiver wire on the free agent auction, like I went over a little bit throughout the power rankings. Paul did a great job in getting who I think is the number one consistent option off the waiver wire in the wide receiver from Washington. I think he's going to be a great fit and a great pickup. I was able to pick up John Ross, as well as the defense for the New England Patriots, who get to face the Dolphins this week, so that'll be nice. Tim did pick up Danny Amendola, then he dropped him, and I decided to pick up Danny Amendola as well because I think he's going to be a pretty consistent starter. Giovanni Bernard, like I said, a good pickup for Jeff, as well as Ronald Jones, looking for some running back depth there. Rob got Chris Thompson to see if he can, since Geis got hurt again in his other knee, as well as Marquise Brown. So Rob had a good free agent auction bid week as well, getting those two big players. Malcolm Brown, the running back that stole some of Todd Gurley's goal line carries, we'll go to Christina. She got him for $23, so pretty good. And Balky had the worst bid where he bid $25 for a kicker. Balky, no one else was going for a kicker. Why did you bid $25? Your season's not off to a good start because I wasn't there to give you draft advice this year. Coincidence? I think not. Besides that, let's go into next week's matchups. We start with what I think is going to be the best matchup of the week. And that would be between my brother and Jeff Hinkleday. Jeff's team is good. Even though he falls far down in the power rankings this week, just because I think of how his team did in the first week, he did get a win. And so did my brother, who he faces. If my brother wins this week, he'll be 2-0 in the division. So this is the matchup that I am highlighting. If you don't remember from last year, the first 3 weeks of the season and the last 3 weeks of the season is when you'll play your 4 division games. So Zach versus Jeff is the highlighted matchup for the week. Right now, Jeff is favored 53% to 47%, a 2-point spread. So we'll see if that adjusts. But these percentages, they went all over the place last week. I think Christine had like a 10% chance of winning before the 2 Monday night games and somehow pulled it out. So that really doesn't mean anything. But I think that's the most important matchup. If Jeff can get off to a 2-0 start, even with a struggling week 1, or Zach can get off to a 2-0 start, both wins in division, it would be huge for either one of them. Then we have Paul trying to bounce back. He has a great projection right now, 130 points. That'd be a big difference from last week. So we're kind of rooting for Paul for that. But he's facing Rob, who also needs a win, because Rob is 0-1. So that is a matchup that is going to also be close. Right now, it is a 9-point spread in Paul's favor, even after a terrible first week. Then we have Shane versus Razalad, the College Roommate Bowl. Right now, it's a 6-point favor for Shane, but maybe rosters have not been adjusted just yet. Dozer at 1-0, looking to stay undefeated. Shane looking to get his first win of the week. So we'll see what happens there. Jason is a 15-point favorite against Christina, who had that big Monday night. Looks like her team is not set up this week so far, but we'll see if that improves. It might be a little bit of a closer game after she sets her lineup, because I know one of her running backs is probably not playing this week. Then we have Tim and Saul, a non-divisional matchup. Saul is an 11-point favorite right now, but Tim was a pretty big underdog against me and had a hell of a game, and Michael Thomas didn't really even have that big a game. So watch out for Tim. He might come up from behind, and the number 1 team in the power rankings gets to play the number 12 team in the power rankings, so we'll see if Balky's team can do better, and mine does worse. It might be close right now. I am a 14-point favorite against Balky. So that seems to be the most one-sided game heading into the week, but Balky got a new kicker, so it might have changed things. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do all this bragging. My team's going to fall apart. Everybody's going to get hurt. I'm not, like I said, I don't want to be the number 1 team in my power rankings because I feel like that is the touch of death. Till next week, when we preview next week's and update the power rankings, give everybody some free agent background as well. We'll see what happens. Have a good week too, guys. Oh, reminder, 1 more week until the Eliminator starts in week 3, so get your team set as possible so you're not the first eliminated.